Good morning, my dear friends. Today we're reading on Bryan Khoeburger accepting a guilty plea. He's a PhD criminology student who has been about to go on trial for the murder of 4 young students. They were sort of 20, 21 years old, and it was just a devastating. He crept into their house at 4 o'clock in the morning and stabbed them to death. Social media has come up. So he has agreed to plead guilty to these 4 murders in exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table. And I think the reason the social media card is flipped up there is because at least one of the families has come out swinging at prosecutors. They are absolutely furious. They've put it on social media. They've made it no bones about it. They are very angry that the prosecutor has agreed to this deal where the defendant, Bryan Khoeburger, pleads guilty to all 4 murders, and he has a consecutive life sentence for each one. So basically, he'll be in jail forever. He'll never get out. And the father of one of the victims said, being in jail is not the same as being on death row, and his family wanted to see this guy basically shot because in Idaho they have the firing squad. The problem with that is, and as a lawyer I know this, there is no case that is a sure win case. Think of Casey Anthony. We thought that she was for sure going to be found guilty. I mean, she went and partied while her child was missing for, I don't know how long it was, a month or 2 months. She never reported it to the police. She lied to the police like crazy. When the kid was found, she blamed it on her dad, and there you go. She was found not guilty. So, although the families say they want a trial and they want the guy to go to death row, firstly, there's no trial that you are 100% guaranteed to win, especially jury trials. Secondly, even if they did win at a jury trial, there's no guarantee that the guy would get the death penalty. And even if he did get to the death penalty, this is number 3, it would take them 30 or 40 years for the state to do the execution, because he's got all these appeal after appeal after appeal. So basically, they would be tied up every 2 or 3 years. There would be another appeal, and they'd have to relive it every single year. So I know they're angry and upset. They feel like they can't heal. And I think also because it was quite sudden. Khoeburger's defense kept saying he's innocent, and they're going to fight it till every breath in their body, or with every breath in their body. And I think the families had steeled themselves for that. But I don't know what all the families felt like. And then also the 2 surviving roommates that didn't get attacked. So you got to take into account their healing. Debt. Not sure what the debt card's about. He had public defenders, so debt might be the actual the cost to the family, financial, but also emotional and mental. I don't know. I like to think that if I was one of the victims, the surviving victims, I would not want to see the case go to court, just because also all the gruesome details. But I would hope in this case that he hasn't formally, the judge hasn't ratified the plea deal yet. So that's happening on Wednesday the 3rd of July. And I hope that he makes him pay, in the sense of having to explain certain things about the murders, what he did, how he did it, what his motive was, all of that situation. Because whether or not they have to do that depends on the judge. So sometimes a judge will make them explain a whole lot of things relating to the murders, and sometimes they can just say, no, I plead guilty, I take the punishment, and then they don't have to actually provide any details of the murders. So there's that. And also part of the plea deal would be that he can never appeal, or he agrees never to appeal. So let's see. What do we want to ask the cards? Why did Khoeburger accept this plea deal? Why did Khoeburger accept this plea deal? Caregiver. I think he's worried about his family. Worried about putting his family through something like that. I don't know. I mean, pretty heartless, damning thing to do is go and stab 4 young students to death. Part of the problem, well, they had pretty good evidence. They had his DNA on a knife sheath left behind under one of the bodies. They've got his Amazon purchase history where he previously bought that type of knife and knife sheath, and then after the murders he went online and went to Amazon and looked for another knife sheath, and he actually put it in his cart. So the theory is that after accidentally leaving the sheath behind at the crime scene, he went to go and look on Amazon to find a replacement. So if the police ever said to him, "Where's your knife and knife sheath?" he would be able to say, "Well, here's the sheath." Nobody knows what happened to the murder weapon. I imagine he didn't keep it. They certainly didn't find it. So, right, Bryan Khoeburger, why has he accepted the guilty pleas? Lies. So I'm getting that even if he has to explain what he did and why he did it, he's still in control, so he can say anything he wants. Basically, he's just going to spout some more lies. This will be some justice for the families, because at least he won't be able to do it to anybody else. You know, there's always a chance he gets off. Yeah. There's always a chance he gets off if they take it all the way to court. And also, so that think of Casey Anthony or O.J. Simpson. Everybody thinks those two were guilty as sin. They got off. At least this way there'll be some justice, because he will spend the rest of his life in prison. He's done it to spare the family, spare the grandparents, his grandparents, his family, his parents. Yeah, so those are two famous cases where people got off. And then you've got the Jodi Arias case, where she was found guilty of murder, but they had the option of imposing the death penalty and they didn't. So, yeah. Okay, prosecutors. Where are prosecutors' heads at? Why are they accepting this? Yeah, feeling trapped. They know they've got a very strong case, but they're also experienced enough to know that there's always a chance you get a rogue juror and it could scupper the whole case. Intuition. What do they say? A bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. Knowing that he'll be locked up for the rest of his life, knowing that he can never get out, that guaranteed certainty is one of the reasons why they've done this. And this trap card also is, I think they really didn't want to let down the families, but they knew that they would let down the families more if they had this opportunity and then they didn't take it. Okay, we've got a guest appearance over here. Let's see. Honey, what are you doing? What do you want? Hey, my baby, what do you want? What do you want? You want some attention? Hey, my lovely. Sorry, she's just so cute. Yeah, they're in a rock and a hard place. There's never a guarantee. There's never a guarantee. and that card shows a car. And from what our understanding of the evidence is, they didn't find any evidence in Khoeburger's car. Not even one speck of blood, one speck of anything. And so the defense would have argued that, well, if he had done it and they think he used his own car, just because of video footage, although it doesn't show the registration, the lack of DNA evidence in the car could have been something that a juror could have been stuck on. Tunnel. So one of the fathers has come out and said, oh, the prosecution didn't want to try the case and they didn't want to make the effort and they're just taking the easy way out and they're not doing their jobs. I think they are doing their jobs. Their job is to make sure that if somebody is guilty, they go to jail for as long as possible, especially something as heinous as this. And a guaranteed conviction and an acknowledgement of guilt, that is something that rarely happens. So I think the accusation that they're not doing their jobs or they don't want to try the case or they're playing God, it's just not true. It's just not true. I think they really wrestled with this. And it's something that they probably considered and had at the back of their minds, that if a plea could be reached. And you'll probably find, although it came as a shock to the families, you'll probably find the defense and the prosecution might have talked theoretically, if we ever get to the stage of seeking a plea deal, this is the defense might be saying to the prosecution, what would that look like? And the prosecution might have said to the defense, if your guy ever is inclined to plead guilty, we'll take death penalty off the table. So I'm just thinking about the murder weapon. Where is the murder weapon? We've got mountains. So I wonder if he will have to say where the murder weapon is or produce the murder weapon. Legal proceedings. So I'm hoping that means that the judge will require Khoeburger to reveal certain things, including the where the murder weapon is, what his motive was, did he intend to kill all four of them, did he only have one in his targets? And I know that's not going to be comfort to the families of the victims, but it will at least provide some information. And I think the family that is so angry, they think that at court, if the thing went to court, all this information would come out, but actually they would only hear what the prosecution already knows. They wouldn't hear some of the stuff behind closed doors. Regret, I don't know that he does regret it. Somebody who can plot and actually carry out that kind of savage attack on four innocent victims, there's something wrong with him. Alien. He's like an alien. It's like he was studying the species, if you know what I mean. And the defense did ask the judge if they could bring in, because he's apparently now subsequently been diagnosed with autism, and that should mean that the death penalty shouldn't be on the table. Well, listen, I've got autism. I've got no maniacal homicidal tendencies. Just because you've got autism doesn't mean you're entitled to be lawless and get away with stuff, the most heinous of stuff. People with autism aren't evil, or some of us can lack impulse control, but that's a human part of the human condition. You can't be wicked and expect to get away with it. And that just made me mad. Clearly he's highly intelligent. I mean, he's in a PhD program, for heaven's sake. Let's see what's going on with him behind the scene. Obsession. I think he was obsessed with murder. That's why he went and studied criminology. But he was also obsessed with the perfect crime and how to commit the perfect crime. And could he be one of those? Depression. He's depressed. Yep. I don't doubt that he is. Fear. Suddenly, it's coming to crunch time, and his case is about to be started. Maybe he's afraid of what will be revealed, but he's also terrified of the death penalty. What a coward. What a coward. Suppression. There's certain things that he doesn't want to come out. I don't know if it's because he doesn't want people to feel badly about him or think badly about him, or if that's to save his mother, or what it is. Okay, so where is this going to go? Because the families are adamant they don't want this plea deal to be finalised. And I'm sure the court will take that into consideration. And I'm sure the court will give them an opportunity to speak, have their say. Let's see, what's the judge's thinking on this? Where is he? Chaos and conflict. Yeah, his job is to bring a resolution to the matter. Now, he can refuse the plea deal if he thinks either that the guy didn't genuinely do it, or if he thinks that the agreed sentence is insufficient. So, loyal heart. Yeah, he is concerned about the families. He is concerned about the effect on the families, on the victims' families. By the book. He is a stickler for protocol, and he's not going to let anything happen that's going to jeopardize a conviction. So he's going to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And all that. The yin and the yang card come out. Balanced, fair. He wants to bring justice. And there really is no justice in this situation. And it seems to be that what the families want is vengeance. And I don't begrudge them at all. If somebody stabs to death your child, I think I would want vengeance too. But that's not what the court is for. The court is for balanced, calm, measured approach and all that. Happy, but in the upside down. No outcome is ever going to make anybody happy. Everybody's going to be upset and unhappy no matter how this case goes. So there's no winning. There's no winning in this case. What do you think? Do you think that he should be allowed to plead guilty and avoid the death penalty? Please let me know. Your comments really inspire me, and even if you leave just an emoji, it really helps out the channel. I actually think that it's a sensible thing to do. Emotionally, it might not feel like justice, but rationally, I just know how variable the legal process can be. And any lawyer worth their salt or any litigator will know that they've won cases where that they've actually told their clients that they had a very low chance of winning. So they might have told their client they've got a very low chance of winning, but they could still have won. Flexible. I think the judge will hear out all the parties, but I think he will try and put some measures in place to at least bring some comfort to the families and how higher power. He is going to wrestle with this. It's really going to it's going to be a difficult thing for him to do. A change in the wind and calamity. Look at that tower. The tiles are falling off, and yeah, it's a very difficult balance for the judge to strike. But that's his job. His job is to bring some balance. So we'll have some words from some cards for the victims, those that have lost their lives. Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie. Let's see any cards for them. Please subscribe if you haven't, and like if you do. Also, I hope to see you at my weekend live where I read cards for whoever happens to be there. You just type in your question into the chat, and then I do a live card reading. And frequently it's a reading with deceased loved ones. That's the most common, and deceased pets. Or if you have a family member or a friend who is non-verbal due to illness or whatever reason, I can read on them as well. The victims. Taken far too young. Taken far too young. Sage. Yeah. They know that there's wisdom in this. They know that there's wisdom in this. Dancer, freedom. They free from hurt, pain, stress, sanctuary. They're in the spirit world, and yeah, it's not hurting them, but they're concerned about the hurt that it's bringing to their loved ones, to their families. But they've got the wisdom to know that this is probably the solution that will save their families the most heartache in the long run, even if their families don't realize it. Two more for the victims. Fork in the road. So I'm getting they don't have a feeling either way. They're just glad the guy's locked up, and can never hurt anybody else. I'm also getting this never-ending story. They are concerned that if the guilty plea is not accepted, it will be a never-ending story, and their parents will have to relive it over and over and over again at every appeal. And the greatest wish there is regeneration, is for there to be some kind of line drawn under this tragic thing so that their parents can start to heal and their families can start to heal. Well, my lovelies, rather somber topic today. I hope that you are well, and may the angels walk with you now and always.